Welcome back to my new ASMR channel. One of the things that I love to do is draw, and I thought this is something we can do together because drawing is really the space where I personally meditate and just experience a different state. I didn't even know that the sunlight, the sunset is going to be here in the window. So it's kind of a nice time of the day to do this. I have sets of pencils, many different colors. And we're just going to start. So I think for many artists or people that want to be, it's really important to understand how to let go of anything that stops you from doing art. For me, I don't let anything stop me. I just choose something and I go with it rather than spend a lot of time thinking about it. The less you think, the more you do. And the more you're actually in tune with the art that is trying to come through you. This is all very new to me as far as like sharing this moment with you. Usually when I draw, I'm by myself. Like, I'd rather be by myself. So it'd be nice to know which parts of this you like and work for you and which doesn't. It's so nice that the sun is like right here. I can feel it on my face. It's this nice sunlight. It's warm. And also drawing with good light is really nice. You can see better. I don't know what's more interesting for you, the sound of the pen on the paper or the words that just flow through. When I draw, I don't think, and when I think, I don't draw. So this is an interesting experiment of not thinking, drawing, yet letting some words come through. I want to make this specific series of drawing with you for creative people that are trying to find ways to channel and help the artwork come through them, which usually means quiet the mind and the distractions that are in the way from you making your artwork. We get caught up with a lot of fear and doubt, worry, or trying to figure out what should I make, what people want to see, what will make others happy. But in reality, if the artwork doesn't make you happy first, it will definitely not do it for other people. The worst part, if you make something you don't like and other people like it, now you're stuck and you have to really struggle making more of that artwork. When in reality, you want to have no friction, you want to have free flow. The thing that comes to you is the easiest, and the thing that you can do without thought. That is talent. That is what it means to be talented. It means that you don't have to think about it. You can just do it. It's effortless. And it's true for every profession. If you ask an athlete, how did you do that? How did you hit the ball that way or kick the ball that way? Or they'll tell you that they don't know. They just did it. They were just there in the moment, and the moment was right. The body did what it did. Same thing here. If you can explain it, it means you know too much about it rather than feel it. When I draw, I don't think. I don't think about what I'm going to draw. I just put pencil on paper, start some lines, and the lines follows into other lines. Sometimes the beginning of the drawing is the one thing that will not fit to the rest of my drawing, because it was like a key. It was just a place to unlock and start a shape. That doesn't mean the rest of the drawing will continue that shape, but not knowing is more fun in that way. When I was a kid, I used to think that there were like aliens drawing through me, not me, because I could never draw the same thing twice. But back then I didn't know what it means to channel or to just have something flow through you, so that's the only way I could explain it back then. Which I guess it's kind of the same thing, some kind of a extraterrestrial force or being outside of our body. Drawing, in a way, it's like a small dance. It's like you're dancing with your fingers, and I mean, when we dance, we move our body, but if you dance in the sand, your body leaves steps and footmarks in the sand, so you can kind of see the traces of the dance. And drawing is mainly leaving those traces. So we're feeling those movements, and then those movements leave a trace. And it's funny because the joy of drawing is in that movement, in that dance. But when people come to a gallery, they watch the traces of the dance. They have no idea or feeling of the joy that was there when you were dancing. So for me, that's the least important part, is the gallery or the exhibit showing the dance. Let's see. Gotta pick a color for the next one. I think I'm just gonna make it like really colorful and bright. It's like a tree of energy. It's really interesting looking back at wanting to be an artist, and then when you are one, it's a battle, it's a struggle. If you want to enjoy and love making art, because there is a trap of making art your job or your work. Most people think of art as freedom, but that freedom only exists if you create that. Otherwise, it becomes just another job. It's nice when you find deeper meaning into what you're doing. That's why for me, water was much deeper space to be in than just photographing water or drawing water. Or I wanted to see something that was invisible, something that we cannot see with our eyes. Expose a layer of reality that was hidden. But more than that, prove that there is something magical in this world, something that's beyond what we learn in school. That's beyond the idea of a random, meaningless life, because I never believed that we're just random mutations of cells that somehow got together and decided to sing a song. That does not make sense. It's funny when being spiritual is more logical than being scientific. But that is just the way it is. I love trees. Let's see. We need to give it more of the sun that I'm feeling, more of that energy. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange. Trees are something we don't think about too much, but we should. Trees. Kind of accept them for just being there. But what is a tree? We are giants in this world. We don't see all the small structures and single cells that make this world. We take it for granted. But a tree it's a building, it's architecture, it's huge structures that holds trillions of cells, systems and infrastructures. The only downside for trees is that they can't walk around, so they're very dependent on the food they can get from the area where they are. But what we don't see is that trees are actually connected under the ground. The roots join together. It's a whole network. So trees will help other trees get the nutrition they need. But, that wasn't enough. So trees decided that they need to be able to walk and have more control of their faith. And that is how we got to here. Because you are a walking tree. Just put eyes on it so it can see where it's going. Hands so it can pick up the food. Legs so it can walk to where it needs to go. And a metabolic system, your stomach, so it can process the food. That's what we are, walking trees. Let's see, the next color. Maybe we'll push more towards the purple. You can let me know what I should draw next or talk about. So if you want to draw, just do it. First do it. I remember a friend that used to always tell me of how much he wanted to draw and be a painter. And then I asked him, do you have a canvas at home? Do you have paint? And he said no. He was waiting for that moment to feel it, to know. And I said, the first step is not to draw, is get the stuff. Like, just put it there. Just put the canvas, put the paint, have it ready. You don't have to immediately start drawing. Let it sit there for a day or two, a couple of years. But when you do decide to draw, that canvas will be there ready. Because there's always that moment. There's a moment where everything goes wrong, and then you know that the only way to distract yourself will be to do something that you've never done before. And there's that moment where you're so bored. Kind of like the quarantine. I think that was the time. If there was something you wanted to do and you didn't do it in the quarantine, then you should definitely move on. That was your chance. That was the moment. For me, it was channel water, like a really I love making those videos. I can't even tell you how much joy I get from that. And they're not even the videos themselves are not even the project. It's more the book that I'm working on, and it's just hard for me to work with text, so I work through video. It's easier for me to listen and edit videos and audio than text. So I use those videos as a way to summarize certain topics and issues. But it just gave me so much joy. It was fun to do. I have to say I do enjoy this. Maybe even more. So that was an unexpected red. We'll do some lavender. And there's many avenues to pursuing your art in your creative field. For me, I studied architecture. It's funny because it started from the desire to make the biggest sculptures in the world, because I was a sculptor, and it was definitely something from... I do like engineering, and I enjoy that part in a building. But it was also something of the ego, thinking, how big of a statement can I leave? But the nice thing about architecture is you study people, their behavior in spaces. In general, when you design a home, you design a life, a lifestyle. And the more I studied people, the further away I got from my own ego and closer into like philosophy and just understanding our own society and what it does and why and how. The evolution of our lifestyles and homes and cities and the family, everything. Architecture is a really amazing field to study if you go to the right school that is not too technical, because you can learn the techniques when you work. In school is really the time that you want to experiment and expand your horizons. All the work experience comes from work later on. And that's true probably for many fields. Let's see. Maybe we can focus more on the atmosphere around the tree. You can see here from the ground to the atmosphere, from the brown to the blue. But the atmosphere is just water, low density. We live underwater. I guess trees are in a way seaweed. There is a flow that surrounds everything. We don't see it with our naked eyes, because if you did, it would be overwhelming. Sometimes you can see it if you meditate, or some people take certain substances, which is kind of the evidence of how overwhelming it is. It's not something you can just do. And it's not something you can live with 24/7. We are designed to function within our bodies and senses. Which are easy to overload. I think when we do see the invisible, we basically see the water. It's around us in the atmosphere, just an extension of the ocean towards space. Protects the ocean from freezing. We definitely don't want another ice age. Do you know that the tree is also a spiral? The golden ratio. It's expressed in many different ways. The way the branches grow, it's a form of a spiral. It's from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. It's very comforting to know that there's so much order in nature. The design is just everywhere. These are the sounds of spirals. I really want to create these videos to help you relax when you need. Get some space from the thoughts that bother you, occupy your mind. Help you fall asleep when you need to. So it'd be good to know what helps the most. I personally really appreciate the things that help me fall asleep. And they're very different at different times. Could be music, could be a car review, could be a lecture. When people tell me they fell asleep to one of my lectures, it makes me really happy. Because that's a bigger benefit than if you actually understood what it was about. I think it's more valuable to be able to fall asleep and relax, and just have a good state of mind. It's interesting that the majority of people think that thoughts are all them, that all their thoughts in their head come from them and are there for them. Most of the thoughts are actually not you, and they're not there to benefit you. But if you're able to take that space from them, then you can really gain independence, peace. I like this paper. Let's see, what else should we add to our atmosphere? Guess we can have darker blues. I hope that this will inspire you to draw with me. Just take a piece of paper and pen, make some shapes, and then see what's the next shape that it wants to become or be. They usually follow each other. Don't think about it as something you need to show anyone, or just think about this moment like a dance. If you were dancing alone in your room, it's not something anyone would see or know. It's a feeling that you get to keep. But as you're drawing, you might be able to get some clarity, have some space for your mind to think. Well, actually, it's space for your body to express itself, which is more of a gut feeling. Less words, more intuition, understanding. also like to work with clay. Maybe we'll do that. I'll bring some clay and we can just sculpt together. I can't tell you how excited I am about this project, because it's in a way not a new project, it's just something I love doing, but I can do it alone and together with you. I used to always draw in class, and teachers would be like, you need to pay attention, stop doodling. I would try to explain to them that that's my only way of listening to them. And it's actually, for me, a show of respect and an attempt to really listen and understand what they say. Because the drawing, the doodling, occupies my body and a certain part of my mind that was too anxious sitting in class. I'm happy that I'm not like a student now. They would probably just give me some medications to numb and relax those things, instead of just understanding that everyone are supposed to sit quietly in class. Some people are born to dance, to sing, to move, to draw, to act, to play games, be athletes. We are so different in so many ways, and we are the same in one way. But that's what I mean, you have to fight if you want to find your way, more to say, keep your way, not lose it. Those things we're born with, the joy we have as kids, to keep that. That's where you win in life, if you're able to keep that. The sun is almost down. It's going down by, there's a mountain. I don't even think that this drawing is necessarily good or bad. I'm just happy we drew it together. I probably won't even remember either drawing it or the things that we talked about. So the sun is set, and I think that is the cue for me. This is the first experiment of doing this together. I like it. I would like to make more of these. So I hope you either had fun drawing too, or were inspired to do so, or even better, fell asleep. And we'll see you soon again. Good night.